I want to guarantee you, there's not one seat on that board that I don't mourn the loss of. I don't like to lose. But my opponent won this race, so I'm going to step aside. And I had a good run, and I'm going to take pride in my service. And then I'm going to talk to my family about what comes next.
Well, apparently what came next for Democratic congressional loser, former Representative Sean Patrick Maloney, was a big gift from President Joe Biden, who has appointed him to head the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, AKA the OECD, in Paris. He's gonna take a trip to Paris, Cenk.
Yeah, and so look, there's two problems here. Number one, that organization is important, and
yes.
So the more neoliberals that you put on there, and if you're not familiar with the terms, neoliberal basically means conservative, economically conservative.
Laissez-faire ideology.
Free market should rule everything.
Exactly.
In other words, corporations are awesome, and we should live under their rule forever and ever. So, but that's not surprising, because Sean Patrick Maloney was a very corrupt congressman, and when I say that, I don't mean it in the traditional way that Washington uses it, where you have to like do over the top, ridiculous direct bribery for them to call you corrupt. No, he organized the corporate money that came into the Democratic Party and institutionally corrupted all of the members of the Democratic Party. He was the guy in charge of that.
That's right.
So that's exactly the kind of guy that you would send to be your bag man at an international organization like this, okay? So that's one component of it. And two is that they wanted to pay him back for the trick that he did.
Yes, talk about that.
Okay, so he was, there was redistricting in New York, and it became a hot mess. The Democrats screwed it up. And at that point, Sean Patrick Maloney decided, you know what, I'm not gonna run in my district. I'm gonna run in a slightly safer district. Let's pause to note, oops, he lost in the theoretically safer district. But it was supposed to be a twofer. What that did was it pushed Mondaire Jones to another district, and he was a progressive congressman. And what they were hoping for was that Mondaire would run against Jamal Bowman, thereby guaranteeing that one of the progressives would be eliminated. Now, this is while establishment figures like Sean Patrick Maloney are pretending, oh, it's a big tent and we're all family here. And I don't know why progressives would ever disagree with us. Why don't they just follow their goddamn orders and know who's in charge? But we're all friends. And then he tried to end the career of either Bowman or Mondaire Jones. It was a super dirty trick. And I have to confess, I love that he lost.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't want a Republican on that seat, but I'm saying if a certain number of Democrats were gonna lose, I would want Sean Patrick Maloney to be in that group.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You F around, you find out. They thought their cutesy little scheme was gonna be beneficial for the neoliberal wing of the Democratic Party, and to see him suffer the consequences is nice. But the only problem is, in comes Joe Biden to save the day for Maloney and essentially send him to Paris. Now, he hasn't done it yet, but he's planning to, okay? So I wanna go to Axios, which of course reported this story and gave Maloney undeserved credit, as they should be expected to do, quite honestly. Biden has been looking for a soft landing for the former lawmaker who lost his seat in upstate New York after being pummeled by negative Republican ads, but helped minimize House Democrats' losses in the midterms. How exactly did he do that?
Yeah, okay, look, to give you a sense of how incompetent he is, he lost his own seat. God. Meanwhile, Mondaire Jones was forced to run in a different district, and he also lost, okay?
No, but he nailed it, Cenk. We should give him credit.
Yeah, and the Democrats then lost the House altogether. But to this day, the establishment media helps with their propaganda of like, but they didn't lose by that much.
I know, it's amazing.
Like they literally celebrate that. If we say things that are true and obvious, like, hey, losing is not winning, they're like, oh, you guys are so unsophisticated. Don't you know the Democrats are always supposed to get killed? And they didn't get killed this time, they barely lost. And by the way, even if that were true, what effing difference does it make?
You still lost.
Because once you lost the House, you can't get anything passed.
1000%.
But the part they never tell you is they didn't want to pass any of those bills anyway.
The markets love the gridlock, baby.
By the way, that is not an exaggeration. We did a story after the Democrats lost the House about how the markets were reacting incredibly positively, and they were all the lobbyists, the business interests, openly giving quotes to CNBC and other outlets saying, we're thrilled, gridlock is good for business, because that means they can't pass any regulations that would protect you guys or get you higher wages. We're back in charge. The status quo is great for corporate rule. And that's brought to you by Sean Patrick Maloney. And for us, we're like, why would you reward such incompetence and defeat? But for the establishment, kind of mission accomplished. So this is their gift to him for maintaining corporate rule.
Absolutely. You know, it's sad when sources that I typically would stay away from, conservative sources like the National Review, because of their right-wing bias, right-wing slant. But in the context of reporting this story, I like their headline the most because it's the most honest. Let's go to that. Mike Lawler becomes first Republican to defeat DCCC chairman in 40 years. Because that's the reality. A Republican defeated the chairman of the DCCC for the first time in 40 years. And who was that person that was defeated? Sean Patrick Maloney. That's the reality of the situation.
It was a historic loss.
It was.
And they thought mission accomplished. Because if they're not corrupt, then they're incompetent. So pick them, which one is it?
And it's his home state of New York. Okay, I want to also go to NPR's reporting of the loss. They wrote at the time, when Republicans take control of the US House next month, they'll have voters in New York to thank for roughly a third of their national gains. In the midterm elections, one of the bluest states in the country saw a relative red wave that led to a net gain of 3 seats, helping give the GOP its razor-thin majority. And nonetheless, Biden had reportedly been considering him for many different positions within his administration before landing on the OECD. And by the way, thank you for mentioning how important that role is, right?
Last thing is, honestly, what difference does it make? They were gonna put a neolib in there no matter what.
Yeah.
So they're just giving this guy a gift, but outside of that, they were gonna put someone just like him no matter what, because Biden is not 1% progressive. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.